This lecture about working cast and die. The working cast or master cast can be defined as the replica of the prepared tooth or teeth, ridge area, and other parts of the dental arch. And this working cast is obtained from the final impression, and we need it to make a wax pattern on it. Requirements of good working cast. The working cast must reproduce all the details captured in the impression. It must be free from air bubbles, especially at the area of the finishing line and occlusal surface. It must be free from any distortion. It should be trimmed at the margin of the prepared tooth or teeth to ensure access for the carving of the wax pattern, and this is called ditching. Finally, it should allow precise articulation. As I mentioned before, that the master cast is the reproduction of the prepared tooth and the remaining dental arch. But the positive reproduction for the single prepared tooth only, it's called a die. The requirements of the die: it must reproduce the prepared tooth exactly. It must be free from air bubble and void. It must return to its exact position on the cast. It must be stable even when the cast is inverted. The material used for die construction. There are different materials used for die construction, but the two critical properties that should be taken in consideration for choice of the material are the dimensional stability, which give us the accuracy of the die, and abrasion resistance during the construction of the wax pattern. So there are many materials. They are stone die, electroplated die, which either silver plated die or copper plated die, resin die, amalgam dies, flexible dies, metal spread die. All these materials have advantage and disadvantage, but we will talk only about the stone die because this material can be used almost because it's easy to use and it is inexpensive and produce consistent results for us. So, as I said, the stone die have many advantages, which are easy to prepare, can be used with all type of impression material, cheap, and need less equipment, and easy to manipulate. Now we will talk about the systems of die construction. There are many systems for die construction, and I arranged it from older system to the newer one. The first system or method is working cast with separated die. The second is working cast with removable die, which include straight dowel pin, curved dowel pin, Pindex system, Di-Lok tray, and finally DVA method system and the scissor method system, and I will explain it later. The first method is working cast with separated dies, or we call it multiple pore system. This method is simple, but the result will not be very accurate. The procedure will be as following. The final impression is poured twice to obtain two working casts. The first pour is more accurate, so it is trimmed into a die with a handle, while the other working cast is articulated on the articulator. The cutting will not be very precise, so this method will not give us a very accurate die. For the construction of the working cast with removable die, we need the dowel pin. The dowel pin are ready-made metal pin which are used as a mean of orienting the die to the original working cast. The dowel pin allow the die to be easily removed and accurately replaced into the working cast. This dowel pin is taper and cylindrical with one flat side for positive setting. The dowel pin technique. In the dowel pin technique, the cast is made of two pours of type 4 stone of contrasting color. The first pour forming the tooth only, while the second pour forming the base of the cast, and there is a separating medium between the two pour. And the location and orientation of the dowel are very critical because improperly placed dowel pin, the result will not allow the die of the prepared teeth to be withdrawn from the cast. While the method of working cast with removable die, the final impression is put for one time only to construct a working cast that involves removable die. Even this method is more complicated than the first method, but the result will be better. Dowel pin technique. In this technique, we first dry the impression, surround it with pink plate wax. Then a dowel pin is used for each prepared tooth. It should be placed over the center of the prepared tooth parallel to its long X. The dowel pin is fixed using a bobby pin, and this bobby pin is fixed itself against the straight pin with a stocky wax and paper pin from each side of the impression, buccally and palatally. After that, the impression is placed over the vibrator and dental stone is added in small increment to about 2 mm above the cervical margin. Retentive means such as paper clips are added to provide retention for the second pour of stone. Then, when the first layer of the stone has set, the bobby pin and paper pin are removed from the impression and a ball of soft wax is placed on the tip of each dowel pin. Then the surface of the first layer is lubricating with a separating medium. After that, the second layer of the stone is poured. After complete setting of the second layer of the stone, the cast is removed from the impression. Then a saw is used to section the proximal sides of each prepared tooth buccal lingually to obtain the die. The cutting should be through the first layer only, and the cutting should be diverged toward the occlusal surface to facilitate the removal of the die. Finally, the end of the dowel pin is tapped gently with a hand instrument to loosen the die so the die can be removed and repositioned to the working cast easily. Pindex system. In the Pindex system, a reverse drill is used to create a master cast with dies that can be removed and replaced repeatedly with great precision. In this system, the impression is poured without the need of the dowel pin because the machine accurately drills parallel holes. The techniques for the Pindex system will be as following. First, we pour the impression in a usual manner and allow the cast to set 60 minutes. After that, we remove it from the impression and trim the excess so that the side and the base of the cast should be perfectly flat on the table top. After that, we mark the location of each dowel on the occlusal surface. We need 2 dowels for each segment. Then we position the cast on the drill stage and hold the cast firmly and press the lever. This will activate the drill which penetrates into the cast. Then we try the pin and locate them to place. And finally we position the plastic sleeve and cut the die with a saw as the manner I previously mentioned. Now we will talk about the Di-Lok tray. In the Di-Lok technique, we need a Di-Lok tray, which is a specially articulated tray for precise reassembly of a sectioned definitive cast. The impression is poured and the cast is trimmed into a horseshoe configuration that fits in the special tray. Then the tray is filled with a second mix and the cast is seated. When the stone has set, the tray is disassembled, so cuts are made on each side of the preparation and the resulting die is trimmed. The cast and die can be reassembled in the tray, which is then mounted on the articulator. The disadvantage of this system is that the overall size of the tray can make articulation and manipulation are difficult. As you see in these pictures, this system has a special base plate with a very precision drill, so the result will be fast, clean, and very accurate. Pindex system. In the Pindex system, a reverse drill is used to create a master cast with dies that can be removed and replaced repeatedly with great precision. In this system, the impression is poured without the need of the dowel pin because the machine accurately drills parallel holes. After we finish the die preparation, then interocclusal record is needed, which is the bite registration. We need the interocclusal record to transfer the relationship between the upper and lower arch from the patient mouth to the articulator. Proper interocclusal record is important to orient the dies of the same arch to the opposing arch. When enough teeth are present in both dental arch, we can transfer the relation by hand articulation of the cast, then we mount them on the articulator. If the remaining teeth are insufficient to produce hand articulation of the cast, we have to record the bite by using either the pinky plate wax or bite rim, occlusal rim, or by using the bite registration paste. The bite rim should be used in the following cases: free end saddle area when we need to restore the anterior teeth and when we don't have enough teeth to obtain the centric relation. In this picture, we use a bite registration paste to record the interocclusal relationship but we should remember that we should have enough number of teeth or sufficient teeth to record the byte registration. Thank you, and I'd like to remember you that the information of the systems or the details of each system is not mandatory in the final exam. It's just for information. Thank you again.